Hi everyone, this is Pretend Farmer Girl. I thought I would give you just a face-to-face update on how my tomatoes grew in Central Florida in the ground. Now, the reason I did in the ground instead of raised beds with all the soil is because the raised beds with soil are expensive. And I really didn't want to invest that money right now into this planter area. I'm sitting in the middle of where my garden is right now and where I did the tomatoes. You can see some of the strings hanging down from where I tied them up. Now, the positives are that my plants grew. I did get tomatoes. I saved all the tomatoes that I picked. We ate maybe 6 or 7 tomatoes out of all of them because I really wanted to weigh them at the end and see how we did. So out of about 25 plants, we got 20 pounds. That doesn't include the few that we ate. These were the Amish paste, and my first big mistake is that I thought that they were indeterminate. So what I did is I pruned them. So we got maybe two tomatoes off of each plant because I pruned them. They're not indeterminate, they're determinate, which means that they will grow and produce and then they'll be done. And the indeterminate are the ones that you see flailing all over the place where they just keep growing and keep producing, which is great, but I wanted something that was more structured. So I will show you one of the few that we didn't eat. Here's the Amish paste. It's kind of on the small side, but I would say most of them we got were a little bit bigger than this. And then this is also the Amish paste, but it grew weird. I don't understand. I know that there's a term for it, but it turned into like a regular a tomato, but they tasted so good. Again, the reason we grow our own is because it tastes so good. Out of the 20 pounds, I ended up canning up just the tomatoes. I blended them up, including the seeds and the skins, and I got 8 quarts of just the sauce. And the reason I just did the sauce is because I wasn't sure what I wanted to make out of it, and now I'll just have the sauce. It's very liquidy, so I'll probably cook it down some more, but I just wanted to get them canned and out of the freezer so that I could actually see how did it go. So as each plant finished it, I pulled them up. I pulled the plant up. I'm like, wow, I have great roots. And this is, 40 feet. So I didn't want to always just take the plant and walk over and put it in the trash. So I was just flinging them over and throwing them, like across the whole garden because I didn't want to have to walk. So I pull it up, throw it, pull it up, throw it. And it wasn't until the next day when I was actually putting them in the trash that I realized I have root knot nematodes. I ignored that Florida has root knot nematodes because I figured if I ignored it will go away, right? Not the case. So first of all, I'm thinking, great. I pulled my tomato plants up, I flung them across the garden, and I just inoculated my whole garden with root knot nematodes. Now the nematodes are the worst with tomatoes and okra. This is what I've read. I don't know. When I did okra last year, I did it in my raised bed that's in the greenhouse. So bottom line, all of my tomatoes these whole 2 lines are infected with root knot nematodes. So I'm like, this is not good. But the good thing is that I got tomatoes in ground with basically little money being spent. I did fertilize them often because of the sand. So bottom line, I got 20 pounds of tomatoes, and I am going to replant. The other thing they say that is not good for root knot nematodes is you don't plant in the same area. Well, right now I don't have another area. So I was researching, how do you prevent them? What do you do? So the few things, let me see, I wrote it down. The few things that they say to put in the ground is mustard. Mustard plants do something where you plant the mustard, then you till it into the ground that you're using, and the nematodes go away. Another thing is bat guano and crab meal. Crab meal does something to them, I don't know. But the other cool thing that I'm super excited about, as I was researching root knot nematodes, other than, you know, there's other things, you can buy the beneficial nematodes, but again, I'm trying to do this on the cheapest budget that I can, given, and work with what I have, rather than having to spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on raised bed soils. So this is the exciting part. Wine cap mushrooms. I'm so excited. Here are my wine cap mushroom spores. Now, this is the second bag, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But the wine cap mushrooms put out, I don't know, whatever they put out, their tendrils or their roots, and the roots have the spikes in them that kill off the nematodes, and you can eat the mushrooms. And I'm like, this is a win-win. So behind me, you can see the straw. Last week, when I just decided I'm gonna plant the mushrooms where I planted. I'm gonna be planting the tomatoes, and it's, you know, it's layering. So I had the soil down there, and I watered it, and then you put a little bit of mulch down there, and then you water that, and then you put some straw down, you water that, and then you put the spores and you water that, and then you put the straw on top and you water that, and it's all this nice pretty rows. And then I figured when the time comes, I'll just scoot the area away, and I will plant my new tomatoes in there and see what happens. The nice thing about seeds is they don't cost a lot, especially when you sprout them yourself. So I was so excited. The next day, so we have 27 chickens. They have never, ever broken in to this closed off garden area, ever, for 8-9 months. Well, I caught a chicken in here, and I'll show the picture of what it did. It rooted this whole thing, messed it all up. I had mushroom spores everywhere, and the thing about the mushroom spores is they need to be covered and kept moist, especially in Florida. You don't want them to dry out, and they don't want to be in direct heat. So I was so upset. I got that chicken out, raked everything together the best I could, covered up the exposed spores, and a few hours later, looked to see where could they be getting in, closed up some spots. A couple hours later, 3 chickens destroyed the whole thing again. It's not their fault. They were after food, but I did yell at them and tell them if I catch them, they're going in the freezer, which is not fair. It's not their fault. So got those 3 out, did it all again, watched them for hours from my room. I watched them. None got in. Took my eyes off. There's 1 in here. Messed the whole thing up again, and I swear that chicken knew what I said about the freezer, because as soon as it saw me walking towards it, it just ran away from me, got out. So anyway, it appears now after about 7-8 days that we are secure in here. I have a new bag of spores that I'm going to put down. Let's see, I have a couple notes. So the tomatoes that I'm going to put in the ground next are called Floridade, and they're supposed to be heat-loving tomatoes. And since it's February 2024, almost mid-February, they will be growing in the heat. So that's another experiment. I'm going to plant another set. If they grow, they grow. If they don't, they don't. But I'm also interested to see how I bought bat guano, crab meal, I have the mushrooms, I have the worm casing tea. So I took the worm casings, put it in a 5-gallon bucket with water, and I've been making, stirring it every day. Also put some molasses in it from a suggestion. So that's what I'm doing. That's the update on the garden. I have so much growing all over. Oh, you know, just to give you a quick update, I ordered some onions, found out that we're supposed to be growing short day onions. So I ordered some, didn't realize how many, and I ended up with 500 onion starts. So I have them 500 onion starts planted throughout the garden. I have them pretty close together because we'll use some as chives, like pull every other. I have some kohlrabi, some cabbage growing, and I also planted a whole area over there. We enclosed it more. And I planted 150 seed potatoes. I also have some growing right here. I don't know if it's in, you can see they've come up. And the reason I've planted so much is because planting in the soil in Florida is a risk. So what's going to happen if I have the room and I plant the potatoes and the stuff under the ground, the bugs get to them, then they get to them, and I'll know I can't do it in the ground. But maybe it will work at least one time. So I'll keep you posted on that. Is there anything else I wanted to tell you? I think that's it. I'm terrible about filming. I'm terrible about editing. So I do stuff every day a lot, and I just don't get around to filming it. So that's why I decided to give you a quick update, but I will put some pictures in at the end about the rest of the things that I'm doing. Anyway, this is Pretend Farmer Girl signing out, and I hope you're having a good day.